Dumb fun.
I'm ready at any moment. I'm even drinking a bit of tea, if you will.
Yeah, I do see that. I scraped together some water that I'll be boiling, and that's not to make tea. I just have to get all the sort of microbes out of it before I drink it. How are you doing? Are you feeling okay?
Yes, I think I'm going to be loosey, rather goosey.
Okay, you're going for both this week.
We'll see how one does.
Let's warm up. Let's do our warm up. So you remember we used to do our warm up? We used to all gather in a circle and do warm ups on the set.
I mean, you can take the girl out of the theater, but
I know.
cannot. However the rest of it goes.
Exactly. So yeah, I just want to do some of our mouth, just more.
I like to go, Mamie Mike.
Pickety Piper, Hot Rod Piper, Rowdy Piper picked a peck of Hulk Hogan's bananas.
I remember that one. Or unique New York, you will never make it as an actor in unique New York.
The proper cup of coffee puts the baby to sleep.
It certainly does.
Okay, I feel warmed. Do you feel warmed up?
I feel ever so warmed, and I do have to warn you right off the bat. If my accent sounds a little weebly wobbly, that's British. It's because I recently spent time in the United States. For the holidays.
Let's get into it. I want to hear all about it, but first I'm going to play the theme song real quick to the show just to start the podcast episode. We'll edit all of this out, obviously. So we're gonna. It's on Netflix still, right?
No, I'm afraid it's on Hulu.
Oh, they moved it to, what is it?
Hulu.
You have to work so hard to make that H sound now that you've been living in.
I know. I have forgotten it so.
Yeah. So it's on Hulu. Okay, I'll find it real quick and I'll play the theme song and we'll start the show.
Seinfeld is on Hulu as well.
So we're like part of the must-see lineup.
I think so.
Okay, here we go.
Very good news.
I found it. Hello, welcome to Fanny Falls Demon Hunter, the podcast. The watch-along podcast. You guys know you've been listening since week 1, which was last week. I am Topher Jason. With me, my co-star on the show, my co-host of the podcast.
Letty Lamora, how's everyone doing this day? I don't know when anyone's listening.
That's right. It could be whenever. It could be day. It could be night. It could be, the eclipse for all we know. And I know that gets into sort of your witchier tendencies.
Well, that does sort of supercharge the eardrum if you listen on the eclipse. And actually, I do warn anyone against doing that because you might pop your eardrums.
Yeah, please don't. That's official science, I believe.
Yes. One of my former family members did that, and he could never hear again. He was trying to listen to an episode of Come Town during the eclipse.
You shouldn't do that.
Yeah, I've never heard of it, but I imagine it supercharged something in his semen as well.
Oh, really? This is all part of the conversation you had with him.
Well, he fathered many children in the family. So.
Sure. And when you say the family, I need to remind the listener again that you're referring to let's just say the cult that you were in for a few years. Oh, I think we lost you, Letty, for a second. I hope we lost you. I think what happened was what it looked like to me is I mentioned the cult and you went into kind of a fugue state for a second.
It's not so much that I was in a fugue state. It's that I suddenly felt like all these memories were rushing back to me and that I was there.
Sure.
Yes.
So you just were in the States. You were just back in your home.
I was just in the States celebrating the holidays.
You were here.
You're not supposed to travel with COVID, but I just lied and said I had antibodies.
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 Yes. Yeah. So you lied. You were able to travel, which is, I think you got to do whatever you got to do to travel, and I've always said that, and that's what I'm. We'll get to what I'm up to a little later. But so you travel. You traveled back to the States, to your home in Palatine, Illinois.
Oh yes, I am from Palatine, Illinois, and I flew back from London down to Chicago, and then I drove, 40 minutes to see my family, and then I quickly, I went a little more west to see other family members as well.
West to where's west? You're talking like Joliet?
Joshua Tree.
Okay. Oh, okay. So you were all the way out west.
Yes, I had to visit some former family members of mine as well.
Yeah, and again, you're using that word family a lot, and I just have to ask, the Joshua Tree is sort of where the children of the sun loom were.
Yes, I was briefly a member of some call it a cult, but I call it a family of the children of the sun loom, and they are still hiding out on the outskirts there of the desert, and I wanted to say hello and pay respects.
You have to say, it's the time for telling people that you love, how you feel about them or whatever.
Oh, absolutely. And give an offering if you need to.
Is that like a sacrifice type thing, or?
It's sort of like you give something meaningful of yourself up for the purpose of a greater good or the promise of career opportunities.
I mean, well, that just sounds like Lent to me.
Oh yes, it's exactly the same.
Yeah, I could do that then.
Yes, I had to hand over a series of printed nude photos of myself in order to potentially get an audition for a new Tom Hanks feature film.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm surprised too that they thought that those were a rare thing to find.
Oh, with the Tom Hanks films?
No, not the Tom Hanks films. The photos.
He really is in so many films.
It seems like he would stop as he gets older, but you have to respect the drive that he has.
That's what I mean. Don't we all?
Yes. But all I'm saying, Letty, is that I feel like it's just if they could just Google your name and see those photos. I'm pretty sure were these different new photos other than the ones that are out there.
These were a boudoir shoot that I did for a private collector.
Oh, okay. So these are like one of a kind items.
Yes. Who knows? Maybe they'll be in the Louvre someday.
That's nice. Well, I hope it works out for you.
Nice.
I could use the career help. So if you wouldn't mind forwarding my number, because I've had the last week has been amazing since the first episode of the podcast came out.
It's been amazing.
Yeah, we've been reminded how much people really love us. I got a good chunk of change from our ad read for Man Shoes, and was able to buy a new duffel bag and hop the old rails. I'm heading east. I'm currently in a box car. They say, that's so funny. I went from the box office to the box car.
Isn't that so funny?
And I also was never actually in a feature film, I guess, that was released in theaters, technically, but the small screen certainly to a box car, which
the
that's
boob tube.
That's funny. Yes, the boob tube to the old coal tube is that's what I call a train. It's full of coal.
Would you mind just iterating, just in case I missed something? You were on a train. That's
right. Yeah. I'm on a train. I hopped. What it was. I was actually thinking it was so nice to see you last week, and I was remembering how you told me on the last day of filming to come visit you anytime. And so I said those things. You did. You said it after we filmed the last episode, and I, all these years I've always wanted to, but I've never been able to so much as buy a bus pass. How
could you ever? You can't get it.
I know, but now I have this old chunk of change from the. That is how they paid it to me, by the way. I keep using that phrase, and it's because that is how they paid it to me. It was a large chunk of change that they priority mailed to my house that I had to bring to a Coinstar. and get it all sorted out. But once I did, I got that duffel bag and I hopped on a train. I'm on a Bean SF train.
Oh no.
What?
I just so you're not taking like an Hamtramck or something that you could sit down, enjoy a drink, have a nap.
I'm sitting down. Don't worry. I'm sitting in this boxcar, and I'm, I've done fought some people for some beans, but they're my beans now. I'm pretty sure I've established my dominance over the car for the rest of the ride.
I certainly hope so. I mean, you know that you can't take a train across the ocean to go to England, don't you?
Well, first of all, I guess time will tell on that. But maybe at that point I'll find a steamboat to hop on. I don't know where even this train is going, honestly. So I could be headed right up north to Canada for all I know.
Oh, Canada's a lovely country. Lovely place to visit. Yes.
Of course, yeah. So anyway, that's what's going on with me. I'm headed across the country.
It sounds like you're being very productive.
Thank you. Yes, I do feel productive. Feel productive. And I feel like we got a great guest today, Letty.
My goodness.
One of the columns that held the show up. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
The villain, the big bad of the show. You know him as the professor, but of course we know him as Guillame Novascotia. Guillame, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, that was so nice to hear you say that, Topher. That was nice.
Well, we do. We were all very close. You were sort of a bigger brother figure for us on the set.
Yeah.
Because you were a little bit older. Bit older.
No. When I took on the role of professor, I was, I think, I want to say 43.
Wow.
Okay, yeah. Which to me, I was 24, and to me that was just that to me it just seemed like you were as old as dirt. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's the way you tend to see it. Old people. When you're that age, it seems perfectly natural. But when you're a kid, someone who's like in high school blows your mind.
I know, but now when I look at you now, it's like now I know what that would look like if you were really that old, as old as I thought you were.
Yeah.
So you have been, I'll say it, you have not been as active in like the fanship as a lot of the rest of us have.
Yeah.
You don't go to a lot of the cons.
Nope.
What's been up with you?
I've never been much for crowds, and honestly, I've always found the popularity of the show a little bit of a mystery. I'm not much of a sci-fi fantasy fan as much as y'all are. So I guess when I achieved that level of fame doing my role as the professor, after that I started wanting to retreat away from public life. I tend now to just tend to my ranch back in Texas, and
is that like the television show The Ranch? Are you on that?
This is working on like an actual ranch, like ones where there's like, I have 3 chickens, that's it, but it's a ranch.
Ranch is a ranch.
You're not acting.
No, I did a little acting after the show, but the shine was kind of off the apple. I felt it was time for me just to roll away like a tumbleweed.
Can I ask you a question that's sort of unrelated? But in my house that I was squatting in Bakersfield, California, I had 3 feral hogs in there. Does that make that a ranch?
Did you feed them?
Well, they ate my food, whether I fed them or not. You know what I mean? You know how hogs can be.
I think you were more just part of the hog herd.
Well, okay. I guess I was the alpha hog.
Doesn't really sound like it though, Topher.
I'm sorry. The hogs welcomed you into their home. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Well, they mainly would make me go get them food or drinks or whatever it is they wanted.
Now, they talk to you.
Well, they would sort of. I just want to say that I knew what they wanted. Whether I heard their voices.
See, now I'm coming back around because that sounds like a ranch. You were connected with the animals.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, living off the land, connecting with nature. That's what I'm all about now too. I'm glad to see you finally accepted being a pig boy.
See, this is why we looked up to you, because you had this wisdom that we didn't have because we were so young. But every day we walked past your trailer, and it would just be, there would be the bongo drums coming out of it.
And it would smell of the most exquisite incense.
Yeah. And it might not have been tell back then because it wasn't as, mainstream popular, but most of that was just hash.
Oh.
Me smoking hash in there. Yeah.
This is before that was legal in a lot of states.
Like I care, you know. I've always said if it comes from the earth, it's all natural. You can't legalize Mother Nature, or we know you can legalize Mother Nature. Sorry, I am a little high right now.
Expect nothing less.
Criminalize nature is what I mean.
Do you want to talk about what it was like for you to audition for the show? How did you find the show, and what was your audition process like with Colby?
I mean, I had taken an interest in acting in my younger days and spent, a lot of the late 70s into 80s acting in some shows, mostly cowboy shows, or reenactments for like police shows. Every time they need like a trucker or something like that, I would jump into one of those roles.
Yeah, you were in a lot of the.
Yes.
A lot of those, like, where they were like blurry and it was like a camera going from one side of the room to the other, and it was sort of
yeah. I can't tell you how many times I played just a pair of cowboy boots that would be sticking out from under a truck. Yeah.
I think I saw
camera
you
pans
in
by, you see the blood.
You were in that one about that killer truck driver who kept picking up hitchhikers.
Yeah.
Right?
Breaker 49 Breaker. Yeah.
I thought I recognized your shadow.
Yeah. I was originally going to be the killer on screen, but I got arrested before we actually did those days of shooting. So they ended up using another actor for that. So, but I still got to play the shadow, which was really nice.
Oh, fascinating.
When you say the killer from Scream, do you mean the person the stunt man running around in the thing, or do you mean like your character would have been revealed to be the mysterious killer?
Both.
Really?
The role was a much more expansive role prior to my exit from my sudden departure from the film.
Oh, okay. You had kind of developed the script a lot, and it was a lot different. It was kind of about a cowboy on a ranch.
Oh, they were really upset. It really changed the whole production, like that, light and flat. But yeah, that's the way it is, you know.
That's the way it is. I did a couple of those reenactment shows. I was on. I didn't know I was pregnant.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I heard it's a good show to be on.
It was wonderful. I played a young woman who was convinced she had explosive diarrhea. And of course she did, but she also shit out a baby.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wow.
So both can be true.
But a lot of people don't know that was me, but I'm here to dispel the rumors.
Yes. And I, of course, have been on a couple episodes of Cops and some live PD.
That's not a reenactment show.
No, but I just thought we were listing TV credits.
Oh, yes, of course.
Oh, yeah.
And you guys know Live PD, the one that's where they're live with the cops. Yeah, I've been on that a couple times. And that's exciting too, because they can't edit you out. They have to put the credit.
So usually can you put that on an IMDb page?
Is that in your
it's as himself, but still it counts. So I'll just watch the show and I'll figure out if they're nearby, and I'll zoom out there and just start speeding around until they have to pull me over, because then I get an IMDb credit.
That's the hustle.
Yeah. But you were saying,
that's what I was trying to get away from.
Yeah,
right there.
So you were doing a lot of the cowboy pictures, and then you got the audition for the professor.
Yes, yeah. So I walked in to the office with Colby there, and I brought along my headshot and did a couple line readings. She was very insistent on the British thing. I said I didn't really think that made a lot of sense, that the character would be living a demon based in Chicago who has a British accent, but she was insistent on it. So I tried it on a couple times, and I remember she just said the damnest thing. She just said, "Fucking stop." You hit it with the first line, the part's yours. And then she got up, stood on her damn chair, walked over the table, walked up to me, kissed me right on the mouth. And after that, I was in the show.
That sounds like her.
Yeah, it was deeply erotic.
Yeah, I think we all got cast with a kiss on the mouth. Which, of course, was more upsetting for me, because if you remember from last week, my audition ended with me covered in dog shit and a used female Letty, your used female condom.
Yes.
So, but it didn't stop. Tell you what, that's Colby. It didn't stop Colby. She walked right up, kissed me right on the mouth.
But hey, it made good television, or at least, I've heard it made good television.
Right. You still haven't seen it. So what was it like for you to be on the set with a bunch of people younger?
Wait. You haven't seen the show?
No, I told you, I just don't really cut into that genre too much.
No, but you haven't tried to watch yourself since.
No, I remember it to certain degrees.
No, but you don't you want to, you show it to somebody, or relive the glory days or force
on
your
Hulu
8-year-old
right now,
son
yeah.
to watch it bi-monthly. What?
It's on Hulu right now.
Yeah,
What's
it's,
that now?
You could watch it right now. Yeah.
I can give you my
Hulu.
password. My password is crumpet69420.
Now you give it to everybody.
That's so you. That's okay. I'll cut that
I'll
out.
have to change it.
Note to self, cut that out. But so yeah, what was the set like for you? I mean, because you were a little older than us.
Yeah, it was certainly interesting. I mean, I didn't realize the rest of the. I guess I hadn't really even read so much into the script that I understood that what it was a teen sci-fi fantasy TV dramedy. And so yeah, when I showed up and all y'all there were in your 20s but playing teens, blew my mind. Absolutely blew my mind. But you just gotta work with what you're given, make chili out of the beans you got. And I had a lot of fun on that show. I mean, I tried my best to give a good performance. Wasn't really my particular standard character. And I never really got too good at the British accent, unlike you, Letty, who the British accent has really gotten better over the years.
Oh my God, it just flows out of me now. I can't even speak American anymore.
I'm pretty sure if you watch the show, I feel like I do a different British accent in every episode.
That could be true. We're gonna track that. We're gonna have the accent meter on the podcast. But so you haven't really taken as much to acting sort of since then. You've had a couple of big parts that you've done.
Yeah, I mean, other than the professor, probably my biggest role has been when I was on the HBO show, Real Detectives.
Right. Yeah. That was big. That was big for you. And when I watched it too, I was like, that is pure Guillame. It seemed like you didn't seem like a lot of that stuff was coming right from your brain.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was. I mean, the Coen brothers were such excellent directors, and I mean, there was in a way they were trying to bring me out of obscurity as an actor, and told me just to kind of bring my cowboy poetry to the screen as character Detective Chud Watkins. So a lot of those were directly cribbed from my own poetry or things I said while high on the set. Yeah,
absolutely. I remember you looking right into the camera and saying, "Time is a tube."
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was the line that everyone remembered. When I'm like, time is a tube.
Yeah, and just like you did just now, you were looking right down the barrel of the camera.
I gotta make eye contact with someone when I say it.
which is effective. Yeah, that was the thing on our set too. You always had to be making eye contact with someone.
Yeah, a lot of fierce eye contact. I'm glad that they finally told me I could just look y'all right in the eyes, because I mean, whenever I found like the DP or the sound guy's eyes, I mean, they would freeze up.
It was like you were bringing everyone into the scene with you, and they're like, "We're just working, stop."
Yeah.
But that's kind of the beauty of acting, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, the way that I something I do miss about acting is the way that it affects people. I remember Colby screaming at me from the sideline saying, "Stop giving everybody your fucking cobra eyes. You look so hot." And just screaming that over the set.
That is also classic Colby mixed messaging that she would sort of give us when we were directing.
Yeah. She loves the give a note style where it's a positive layered with a negative.
I guess.
Is that so much what she does?
Are you just?
That's
now
how I
noticing
always
that?
felt about it.
You're just now noticing. You're just now picking up on that, Letty.
Well, I just don't know if she said that many. I don't know if she sandwiched much of anything. I feel like I just kind of got the middle part.
Yeah. She would sort of open face it for you, or even just like it was almost more just like a spoonful of like slop from a prison kitchen.
I feel like you always, Topher, got like a club sandwich.
Yeah, I felt like you had
insult, compliment.
It was almost
all day long.
Pudding.
Yeah, it was
a trifle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Trifle.
Oh, see,
yes.
You learned something from doing that British accent.
Yeah. I learned what a trifle was and pudding, as the general concept was.
Yeah.
Yes. And pudding is conceptually difficult to understand until you're kind of in England.
That was a weird thing that you did as the professor, which was whenever you were on set, you would insist only British desserts be at craft services.
Yeah.
Just to help you get into character.
Well, lifelong vegetarian, and a lot of the food in England's very meat based. So I opened up deciding that probably like just biscuits and crumpets and puddings was
you were like
perhaps
really
the best
getting
way
into it. Yeah.
And
I'm
so
not
and
gonna
it did
eat some
work.
bangers and mash,
Oh my! Are you talking about my breakfast?
Yeah, you are, because it is breakfast time over there for you, Letty, right now. Right?
Yes, I'm about to have brekkie of hot ham.
And that's it.
I love a slice of hot ham in the morning.
Yeah. It is.
Sometimes I do a dollop of beans on the hot ham.
That's I gotta
Beans,
say.
now you're speaking my language.
Piping hot beans.
Give me those piping hot beans.
Oh,
That's what I like.
Yes.
I'd be, I'm no vegetarian, but when I think about those pigs that I lived with, it does raise my hackles a little bit to hear people talking about eating ham in this way now. You
Your
know,
hackles.
yes,
It's a hog part.
That's a hog part. Yes.
Sorry, I'm speaking hog language now. I'm getting so in my hog head that I'm speaking hog words.
Yeah. You just sort of wiggling your snout, at it a little bit.
Yeah, but I guess, Guillaume, my question for you before we start to get into the episode is, aren't you lonely? Like, I just feel so. The acting was the only thing that made me feel not so lonely all the time. You know what I mean? Because obviously I was married to Thora for a while, and I had my second marriage.
Yeah.
But
Wait,
now
hold on.
Wait,
You were married to Thora?
You were married again?
Yeah, I'll take the questions one at a time. Yes, I did marry a second time. And then also, yes, I was dating, and me and Thora were openly dating during the course of the show. We got married
Really?
Later on. Yes, yeah, we did.
I did not pick up on
We
that
did.
at all. When did that really the whole time?
Yeah, you were at the wedding, Kim.
I was?
You performed the ceremony.
I did?
You were wearing a lovely turquoise suit. I remember.
Mm-hmm. I remember you were
okay.
sipping from a Nalgene bottle of what you said was mushroom infused iced tea.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, no, I definitely put away a lot of that tea during the production of the show. And yeah, I guess I don't remember that at all. But I hope I did a good job, and I'm sorry to hear about the 2 divorces. Was the second one anyone I know?
I know about the second marriage.
The second marriage is just for a year. It's from 2007 to 2008, thereabouts, and it did not last, and it's not important. And in fact, it's so not important that it was actually able to get legally annulled because we never consummated it.
Oh my God!
You're married for a year and you never
were you
consummated?
married to that little blonde reality TV girl?
Tara Reid?
Yes.
Tara Reid?
Yes, I was married to Tara Reid for 1 year, but it was not Tara Reid's best year.
I was going to say, because shortly after that she did the Piranha movies.
Yeah, she went right to Piranha 3D and the rest from our marriage. But
I feel like I remember. I can remember the tabloids saying Tara Reid has made a huge mistake, and then I think one of them said she married a normal. So I never put the two together.
Yeah, God, when I hear you say those headlines, it brings me right back to that place. It just
oh my God.
Yeah.
This has been a nice
nostalgic
trip down memory lane. Yeah,
Certainly has.
Yeah.
Really has.
So I guess that's my question for you is that, now that I'm not with Thora, I'm not with Tara, and I'm just all alone on this train, except for the couple other people that I've asserted dominance over for a can of beans. They do seem nice. The only thing that's kept me sort of warm at night is the fact that people watch me on TV sometimes.
Well, I mean, being remembered is certainly something worthwhile. I mean, I personally, when I turned away from it, I found myself gravitating toward other pursuits. Certainly my creative spirit kind of drove me that way. But
are you talking about producing or like?
No, I'm talking about painting. I do lots of painting and my poetry, my books of poetry I have published.
Wow.
Wow.
And I run a pot business with my brother in Colorado. And other than that, I just sell paintings of cactuses and write poems about cactuses. And
wow.
If you remember, Topher, you remember what I said to you when you came to me when we were back on the set, years and years and years ago. And you came to me one day on my trailer, and I remember the tea was just about to kick in, and you asked me some questions that I think I recall answering a question very similar to this one. And I told you that chasing this career ain't gonna make you happy.
And well, you do seem happy, Guillaume. And do you want to give a plug for your pot shops, by the way? What are they called?
Oh, I cannot do that. They are illicit. They are illicit in nature.
Oh, okay. Even though it's
On that
Colorado,
one, boy. Well, I mean, you got to have the paperwork, and that's just something I'm not interested in.
that's you to a T.
Understandable. That's so.
I
cool.
will say that if you go to any one of our pot shops in around the Denver area, you also can get your, do your laundry. Just bring quarters, the machine gets sticky.
So just look for the laundromats. Look for the sort of smell out the laundromats, and you'll find Guillaume and his brothers.
I haven't been in a laundromat in so long, right? I mean, it's just like once you're actually a working actor, and then once you move abroad and live in a chateau, it's just like you can't even.
I do the same thing, but I just have 3 shirts I cycle between, and I hang them out up outside to get rained on.
I also haven't been to a laundromat in a long time, but that's for different reasons. I usually just try and find, a shirt, that someone's not wearing anymore, and just cycle through them that way.
What is your reason for not going to a laundromat?
I can't imagine having. Like now I have a big chunk of change, of course, from the ad reads that I could use to go over there. But before that, I can't imagine having that many quarters at once. Like if I had that many quarters at once, I'd probably, blow it all on pinball or something like that, So, but I've just never had that much money to go do a whole bunch of laundry all at one time, So I do what I can in assorted cricks and whatnot. And just try and find new clothes that people have thrown out or don't want anymore.
Are there many cricks in Los Angeles?
Well, I've been in Bakersfield, California for some time.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That makes sense.
So that's different.
I was just thinking of that one where they drive the truck through it from Terminator 2.
That's
and in Greece.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, those are like sewer like things that you're talking about, like sewer canals, right?
What's the difference though, Topher?
Well, that's what I say, and that's why I wash my clothes in either one.
Yeah.
Well, Guillaume, you're certainly an inspiration to us, and we're so glad to have you here, and we're so glad that you still have that same attitude that we always loved you for. So I hope you'll stick around, go through this episode. It's your episode. You star in this episode. It's your first appearance.
Oh, no shit.
Professor Party of Evil. That's right. Yeah. You're gonna make your first appearance in the end of this episode, and we're gonna go through it right after this break. We'll be right back. Hey guys, it's Letty and Topher from the Fanny Falls show, and we're here to talk about our sponsor, Grand's Place. Grand's Place is a team of grandmothers who will build a website for you at a lower price than most website building services, because they will have a lot of questions for you about the technology that they're using. Not the website building itself, but just the mouse, the computer.
Is this AOL.com?
How do I get on the internet? How do you forward a response?
I have to say, and this is me speaking as Letty. I'm not trying to hawk a product at everyone. I'm not, oh, look at me, I'm Mr. Don Draper. I'm advertising how to succeed in business, and I might do a chorus number. No, right. This is me talking as a real human person. I use this service, and my website has never looked better, because I used to use MySpace. And now they've done it. These grands have come in. They made my website. It took 17 hours straight. I was on the phone with them. But, oh my God, my website looks amazing now. It has, when you click on a page, it wipes away to the next. It does like a little
star wipe, yeah.
Yes, and there's a little visitor counter on the bottom, so I know exactly how many people have come to my website.
They did our website for the podcast, and we have never had so many minions on our website as we do right now.
And but they move about.
They do. A lot of pictures sometimes stay still. I don't know how to describe this for the listener. A lot of pictures stay still on the internet. These move around.
These ones move about, and they're moving. Some wearing little overalls, and they're yellow, and they're jumping up and down with their friends, and that is now on our website. And I do not know if it's allowed to be, but it is.
I gotta say, technology is fascinating. That's fascinating.
Yes, it is.
A moving Minions picture? I mean, I haven't even seen any of the films, but I know about the Minions.
I auditioned for one of the films. Yes.
Really? For what part?
For one of the little guys.
Those are the Minions.
Yes, I didn't know what they were. And the director found that highly disrespectful.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think you should be expected to know about everything.
That's
When
how
you
I
go
felt.
in.
That's how I thought.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, they were in Despicable Me." I specifically told you to watch Despicable Me, and I thought he was going, "Oh, Despicable Me." I didn't know it was a movie that he wanted me to watch. You know.
You
And
thought
Right,
then
you
it was
thought it was-
Britishism.
well, I was gonna say after I moved to England, I'm a little removed from things that aren't Guy Ritchie films. I just don't know what people are doing.
They
Right.
say lorry instead of truck, and they say Despicable Me instead of I'm sorry.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. I didn't know. I thought he was saying, "I'm sorry, I didn't cast you already. I'm sorry, I'm making an audition." I didn't know.
And I of course, I'm not in the movie, but I was told that they based Gru's appearance in the original Despicable Me on me, which is heartwarming in a lot of ways.
Laura Ann worked on that movie.
Thora Ann, I think, yes, was a big part of that movie. She's of course had great success, but
She's-
I've always
yeah.
admired your broad shoulders and very narrow waist.
thank you.
Yeah.
And whenever I see that meme of him with the charts, and he's always like, "Oh, what the last thing?" I just think, "Oh, that's me," And I just think about how I'm bringing so many people joy, in a way.
Really? Yes.
Yeah.
It's a
But so once again, our sponsor here. This has all been an ad for Grant's Place.
It's a commercial.
This is our ad for Grant's Place. If you use our sponsor, Fanny Falls Demon Hunter, the podcast, that's our sponsor code. Then you will get, I think it's one free phone call to their grandson Kyle instead of you. Which will save you about 20 minutes off the website end time. So go check out Grant's Place. Yeah, but yeah, you and your brother could use it for your pot shop website.
Oh, I don't think he'll like that, but I've always been looking for a place to showcase my paintings.
There you go. It could be a great opportunity for you. So check out grantsplace.com. Use the promo code Fanny Falls Demon Hunter, the podcast with Letty and Topher. And we're back. All right, we're going to jump right into this episode, Professor Party of Evil.
Wonderful.
This is the second episode of the show, and it starts with this great scene, Letty, where you and I and Thora are walking down. Well, it's supposed to be the Taste of Chicago Festival, and it's actually I should have done my warm ups a little more. But of course, we shot this at the Navy Pier for some reason.
That was ever so much fun to go to Navy Pier that day because we got to ride the rides. Don't you?
Well, you guys did. Yeah, you guys did get to ride the rides.
You weren't you stuck at the top for quite some time?
I was stuck at the top of the Ferris wheel for a long, long time.
Yeah. Colby made you go after all of us by yourself, and then you were stuck. What a coincidence!
I remember that day.
I wanted to ride with Thora because I thought it'd be romantic, but yeah, that's not what Colby had in mind.
We all went and had lunch while you were up there. I thought it was just like an actor's exercise.
Right before it got stuck, I remember looking down and just seeing Colby just like working levers furiously.
Oh, she's amazing.
The way she works is really interesting. The things that she would do to get she told me it was to get a performance out of me, and I remember how I had to get down that day was what they ended up doing was just sort of putting a parachute into a t-shirt cannon, and they just sort of shot it up there, and I had to jump down. But
is your character parachute in the show?
No, nor.
I believe that we were done shooting that day.
Yeah, in fact, we weren't done shooting, and I'm not even supposed to be afraid in this scene until like the last 5 seconds of it. So we're very conversational for most of it. But she would do crazy things like that, and it worked. I can't say it didn't work.
Absolutely.
So I guess let's just jump right in. Let's listen to this scene, the first scene of episode 2, and when we come out of it, we'll talk about it. So let's jump into that now.
What is this thing called again?
My God, Fanny, I know you're from the South, but are you really such a bumpkin that you're freaked out by a street festival? Were the people in your town too scared to gather in large numbers, lest the big, angry yellow in the sky become wrathful?
It's the Taste of Chicago Festival, Fanny. It's the perfect place for hot Chicagoland teens like us to wander around unsupervised, experimenting with illicit Italian beefs from strangers while our parents get drunk on slushy drinks and watch the Neville Brothers. What's not to love?
Oh, like a hootenanny. In Tennessee, we call this a hootenanny. Except it's Bonnie Raitt instead of the Neville Brothers, and, there's chicken fried steak instead of Italian beef. We don't have Italian beef in the South. Or Italians. Hey, what's going on over here?
Where?
Anywhere that's not the place where I was just talking about hootenannies for what felt like 7 hours.
Yeah, we lost you for a second there.
I was sure you were going to tell me I had a purty mouth. Well, now I feel bad that you're not saying it. Do I have an unpurty mouth?
No, Charles. Your mouth looks simply divine after you inhaled 3 gravy-dipped Italian beefs.
I'm surprised you like this kind of thing, Ophelia. A food festival doesn't really seem like it's in your pocket.
If there's 2 things I don't do, it's eating and pockets. They both ruin the fit of my miniskirts, and the only Italian beef I care about is Jordan Catalano. I just like to walk around looking like me until some single dad who thinks I'm 21 buys me one of those boozy slushies.
You're a child. Ooh, the teacups. Can we go? Can we go?
That ride doesn't look like it's running right now.
Hey, that's weird, right? It's peak street fair hours.
Excuse me, sir. We'd like to ride the coffee cup ride.
Okay, no, you have lost your spokeswoman privileges for the night. Sir, I apologize for my friend. She's from Tennessee, and I'm fairly certain the volunteer state just got electricity last year. We were just wondering... Oh. Hey, Fanny?
Yeah.
Did this gentleman's head just fall off?
Yeah.
I retract my earlier statement. You're back in charge.
Oh, hey, the people in this teacup are dead too.
Not just that teacup. All of them.
Now this is what I call a hootenanny.
There it is.
Wow, that was nice to see. Y'all look so young. Yeah.
We did look young.
Some would say I haven't aged a day, however, it's lovely.
I think you've grown into yourselves as people. Some of you more so
physically.
Probably Topher,
Yeah. Because of course, I've been told that there's a quote, unfilmable in my current state. But back then I looked great. And that was a great time. Do we want to talk about who, of course, was playing the young teacup ride attendant?
What was his name again?
Very famous young man.
Uh-huh.
Is he?
Sacha Baron Cohen.
That's right. Yeah.
He's wait. Sacha got famous?
That's right. Sacha got famous for a film called Borat. Have you heard of that, Guillame? Borat?
No.
Okay.
Wait. Is that the newsman with the mustache?
Yes.
There's so many things that could be. You could be thinking of Geraldo Rivera.
Yeah.
Tom Selleck.
Could be. Oh, could be. No, I know who that is. I know who Tom Selleck is.
That tracks.
Somewhat of a contemporary.
But so Sacha, we had, it's weird. He wasn't even technically on set. They did a mold of his head and then just had that drop, at your feet, Letty.
I'm glad that he made it. Yeah, that's nice to hear.
Fun, yes. I called him recently too, because he made that second film, and I said, "Oh, I would love to do one of these improvised, goofy pranks with you." And he told me that I was never to call him directly again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it turned. Yeah,
he always was a bit of a kidder. That might have been a prank.
I think it was a joke. He loves to make those little pranks.
Yeah, that might be in the next movie. Actually,
I noticed. I remember a conversation I had on set with Colby about this particular scene because she did not seem to know a lot about Southern culture. And insisted that prior to me telling her that hootenanny was an acceptable word, it's kind of a fun word to use. Originally, it was orgy and all that. That's what I call an orgy. We're used to orgies back in my home and stuff like that.
Yeah, that does that because she did not know a lot of that. Does track. She doesn't know.
I asked her. She kind of felt like orgy was just a term for a group gathering.
Which again, based on our rap parties, is something that
I was going to say that now this is actually filling in a lot of gaps for me. The
sort of bacchanalias that we would have.
Yes.
But yeah, that is something that Colby was not from the South at all. And so when she writes these euphemisms in episode 1, I think Fanny says something about pickling biscuits, which is not a thing that you can do to a biscuit, as far as I know. You would know, Guillame.
They fall apart.
Yeah.
Things
brine.
usually do.
Things
Oh,
things do.
Was
That
that
is great.
poetry?
That is really
Yeah.
deep. That was really. I'm gonna,
Sorry.
if you don't mind, I'm gonna borrow that. Things
Go
fall
ahead.
apart, including cactuses.
Oh,
That's nice. You made it about your
so
poetry
gorgeous.
subject.
Yeah.
So that was our first day of filming. Once we knew we had been picked up, of course, not including the pilot. Basically, my first real scene. This does kick off the B plot for this episode, where one of the ghosts of the girl who dies in the teacup rag massacre sort of starts to, I guess it's involved with me, and I guess I would describe it as sexual peril. She starts to put me in a lot of sexual peril for the rest of the episode. Just sort of, yes, just sort of erotically haunting me.
Oh, yes, that's right. I remember thinking at first that you were playing that so realistically that I thought that you were actually having sex with the ghost.
Thank you. Yeah. And that's, I hope we're referring to the same thing, because you walked in on in the scene, you walk in on us, and I sort of, just try to, this is of course in Act 3 later on, but I sort of try to pretend like, I'm just like hammering something in the wall. I remember hammering something in the wall.
So funny.
Yes, but it is a very funny scene.
Not much of a sexual act, the hammering of a wall.
Well, it's sort of what I used to excuse why my body was moving back and forth.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, so
not good hammering technique either.
No, and I remember Kobe said that, and she started flinging things at you, and she said, "Hammers, I'll show you hammers," and she screamed, "Somebody find me another hammer!" And no one did, of course, but imagine if they did.
There was a lot more hammers on set than I thought there would be.
There were a lot more,
She
yeah.
threw a lot of mallets. I thank God she didn't get her hands on a clawed hammer, So why don't we jump into scene 2 here I pulled. This is a big one. This is so we get 2 first appearances in this episode. So this clip rather, we get the first appearance of Nathan, played by Solomon Buckton. And then it is, of course, yes,
nice kid.
Great guy. We're going to have him on the podcast. He's gotten he's been very successful, but
tell him I said hi.
Is that confirmed? He said yes.
Well, I wrote him a letter, and so I'm pretty sure we'll be able to get him on the podcast.
Because he blocked me on Twitter, so I can't really.
Me too. And I only.
Hey, I responded to the letter.
You did. See, it works. The letter works sometimes.
The letter will work, I think.
I don't have the Twitter or the email or anything like that though. So I appreciated the correspondence.
Yeah, good. See, that's what I'm talking about. People appreciate getting.
I hadn't had a mailman stop by my house in months. I pointed a gun right at him.
So that's why I read these. I wrote a letter to Thora, and it was asking her to be on the show, and it was about 13 pages long. Had a lot of other stuff in it as well.
Because I was going to say, like, it's a rather brief question. It takes about a paragraph.
I know, but I had a lot of stuff I needed to say to Thora. Did you in order
to get her on the show? I feel like if you had just left it at one question, she would have said yes, probably.
Well, I opened with the question. Then I say, by the way, here's a lot of other stuff I've been stewing on.
I bet you'll appreciate it, Topher. I appreciated all the pages you wrote to me. I thought you opening it up like that way kind of sold me on the project.
You're a poetry writer, you get it. You get that sometimes feelings can be.
And you are not, but it was still appreciated.
Okay, that does hurt a little. But let's
shade.
Not only do we have Solomon in this scene, but we also have the first appearance of Brett Bilkerson as Miss Thickness. Of course, we know that Diane Scully was ousted after the first episode by Colby, apparently for according to Colby, an olfactory issue, a smell issue. But that's something we learned last week on the podcast. But so we got in Brett Bilkerson, who you'll notice is all of a sudden Miss Thickness is very Canadian, and if you can sort of hear the accent if you're listening for it in these scenes. So why don't we jump into it? We'll talk about it when we come out of it. Here is the second clip from episode 2.
I was too late. I should have been here.
No, Fanny, it wouldn't have made a difference. Whatever is committing these murders is too strong for you right now.
But it's my sacred birthright to protect the entire Chicagoland area from demons. I didn't protect these people, Miss T. I literally had one job. If I was at the Gap and I let a bunch of denim jackets die, they'd fire me.
And then who would be there to protect all of the denim jackets that are left? Or the pullover jumpers? Or the, flippy flappy sandal shoes?
You've never been to the Gap, have you?
I'm more of a structure gal. Listen, Fanny, you're not a failure because you didn't catch a clearly very powerful demon on the first try. You're a failure if you give up at the first sign of adversity. So if you want to give up, then go home, Fanny. If you don't, then you can meet me at the high school gym tomorrow morning to do more research into what's causing these murders.
She's right, you know. He would have killed you.
Who's there?
I didn't mean to scare you. I never mean to scare anyone. It just happens.
Are you the one who done did all these killings?
These killings? No, this isn't my style.
No, your style is very Claude Rains. Love the trench coat, though. Wait, is your whole face wrapped in bandages?
Oh, this. I, cut myself shaving.
You know, my mama always told me that one bad squirrel can ruin the stew. And you smell a little rotten to me.
I'm not the guy you want. Someone is killing people to gain their life source as power. I could help you find what's doing it, but you don't really need my help. It's right under their nose.
But where? I've looked everywhere and...
Not your nose, Fanny. Their nose. Look.
Oh, my God. These people all have the same symbol carved into their Cupid's bow. How did I not notice this before?
There's someone you need to talk to about that symbol. Go down to the university and talk to Dr. Pietro O'Fessor.
How do I know I can trust you?
I think you know you can.
I'm Fanny.
I know.
Ain't you gonna tell me your name?
You already know it, Fanny.
Nathan.
Wow.
Wow.
Powerful stuff.
That was phenomenal scene. I kind of forgot just how riveting this show can be. And then you see that and you just think, oh my God.
I will say, and maybe it takes a little of the legs out from underneath Fanny as a detective when she meets Nathan and he's clearly a mummy. He's got his head wrapped in bandages and she doesn't know that.
It's bloody brilliant.
I am just getting the mummy thing.
Oh, really?
Again, this is my first time with interacting with the material, really, outside of reading it.
What did you think his role was when we were shooting?
Injured war hero.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought all the bandages and stuff was like war injuries. Like he fought in Egypt or something. I don't know.
I remember Colby telling me that at this point she didn't know whether she wanted him to be an injured war hero, a mummy, or an invisible man.
Yeah.
And so she figured if she just wrapped his head,
Yeah.
I think when you're writing, you always reach a point in the story writing process where you have to make that decision.
That's true. That's true.
Accurate.
Man, is now a good time, by the way, to finally shout out our musical director, who's whose work is just all over these clips. That is, do you want to say their name, Letty?
Oh my God, no! I believe I
don't have it in our notes, so I think.
Okay, I was gonna say, do you want me to check the credits? So,
No.
Okay.
No.
Oh my God, yes, of course. Our musical director is the one and only Tigress O'Hara.
Tigress O'Hara, we got to get her on the show.
And her work is everywhere now. I mean, she's been nominated for Oscars, for BAFTAs. I mean, she's everywhere.
I hope she doesn't mind me saying this on whatever this
podcast.
is.
We're doing a podcast. Yeah.
Don't have a concept for what that means, but I appreciate it. Man, that woman could smoke some weed. I mean, me and her, we got back, really just put them away.
That's not surprising. I mean, you would have to come up with the stuff.
Yeah. You have to.
Yeah.
I remember coming up to her and saying, I could sing if you want me to, if you need someone to sing the theme song or what have you. And she told me, no, I definitely don't need that. It would take away from my artistic integrity. I don't want that. No one wants that. Get out of my trailer, things like that. And I mean, she just knew what she was doing, you know, like.
Letty, I tried the same thing with bongos. I was like, maybe the theme needs bongos.
And I remember there's one episode where
doesn't.
your bongos feature, but it's never in the theme, and that, you know, people wondered, did our theme need lyrics? I think it conveys, you know, what it needs, what we needed to convey.
It was honestly kind of a throwback to one of my earliest roles because, you know, whenever there is diegetic bongo music in the show, it was me playing it like kind of off screen, you know. But
yeah, and usually just
much like the shadow of my earliest role.
Absolutely.
These things that, you know, things happen over and over again as we travel through time. Time is a tube.
Time is truly a tube.
That sounded for a second, I thought you were just doing the HBO show again, but you really believe these things. I got so confused because you get so in it, you know.
Yeah.
God,
And that's the Coen brothers genius right there.
Oh,
yeah.
You're so good. Oh.
So it's, of course, right after that scene that Letty, your character Ophelia, walks in on my character Charles having sex with the ghost.
Yes,
and it's set pretty funnily to Tootsie Roll by the 69 Boys.
It was so fun. And you know, the craziest thing was that I swear you had an actual erection during this.
Well, I mean, first of all, I mean, you know,
that's acting.
I remember saying to the ghost beforehand, well, look, I'm sorry if something happens, and I'm sorry if it doesn't. You know what I mean? Because, you know, sort of in that situation, you know, it's like, well, will they be offended if I don't get an erection?
Wait, I'm sorry. Was an actual? Are we talking an actual ghost, or is this just for a laugh?
Yeah, Colby cast a ghost in that role. She insisted on there being a ghost actress playing that role because she said that representation was important and that ghosts had to play ghosts.
Oh, that's what that orgy, because I remember getting an invite to a seance orgy the night before, and I declined it as I thought it was an orgy, but I'm realizing now it was probably an actual seance.
Yeah,
you really missed out on that one. I sort of did the crystal work for that thing.
Oh, it was kind of a casting couch seance situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, the ghost was happy to be there. I want to be clear.
Sure, of course. No, of course. I mean, I'm happy to be at any casting couch I'm at.
We had a lot of good talks during the when they were setting up the lighting and everything. You know, it's sort of like a Love Actually situation. You know, we'd be sitting there, you know, miming coitus. But sort of getting to know each other at the same time, you know. But of course, I was already dating Thora, so there was nothing untoward about it. But
you should talk to the ghost again.
Did not know.
We'll see if we can get the ghost on the podcast.
Yeah, get a Ouija board and invoke the spirit.
I have some crystals you could use.
I do appreciate that. I
know some people that could probably make this happen. You know.
Maybe this train is going through Denver, and I could stop in one of your shops and, you know, maybe just do some of this laundry I've been hearing about and pick up some crystals. So,
hey, first load's on me, buddy.
Why don't we move into then this was sort of the last scene of the episode. It is the first appearance of the professor. It's a scene with you. Do you remember this? It's the scene with you and Miss Thickness and Fanny in your office at the college.
Brett was wonderful. So always a pleasure to work with. That's great. I'm excited. I'm excited to hear this. This will be my first time hearing it. I'm glad that my tea has not kicked in yet.
Oh.
Good. We better hurry then. We better hurry and play this one. They've been asking all around, and they've been led to the college to have a talk with the professor. They don't know who is the professor yet. Dr. Pietro,
but he was a professor.
He was
found
also
that aspect a little confusing.
He's also a professor. He's Dr. Professor Pietro, our professor. And I guess we'll get to it here. Let's hear this one right now. Here we go. The final scene from Professor Party of Evil.
Do come in.
Dr. O'Feather, hello. I'm Miss Thickness from the high school, and this is my student Fanny Falls.
Hi.
Ah, Miss Thickness, Miss Falls. A pleasure to make your acquaintance. Always a delight to meet another educator. Tell me, Miss Thickness, what subject do you teach?
I specialize in physical education.
Quite right. An underrated cohort of the educational field, I say. What good is a toned mind if the body falls into disrepair?
Well, yes. Exactly. That's what I always say. Fanny, isn't that what I always say?
Yeah, it's eerie. Listen, Professor, there's a reason why we're here.
Yes, Dr. O'Feather. Surely you've heard about the teacup murders.
And the Navy Pier slashings.
We think the same person might be responsible for both killings.
Well, I should hope so, my dear girls. More's the pity if there's two separate maniacs going around Chicago, killing people ritualistically.
So you also think it's a ritual?
I'll cut to the chase. You're here because I'm the top demonology expert in the Chicagoland area. You don't see people turn up dead like they have in the past couple of weeks and not suspect foul play.
There's more. All the bodies have this symbol carved into them.
Buffo, dear girl, you've discovered the English letter Q.
How do you know?
I'm from there. We invented the language.
No, I mean, how do you know it's not something else?
I'm sorry. What is this exactly? The police haven't knocked on my door for help since Margaret Thatcher was in office. But now, all of a sudden, Nancy Drew and her gym teacher are putting the screws to me.
Dr. Ofessor.
Listen well, gym teacher. What you're trying to do here, it's admirable. But there are things in the Chicagoland area older than you. Older than...
You?
Not many things are older than me, dear girl. Oh, what the hell. I'll give you a freebie. The symbol you found is the crest of an ancient being of evil, known only as the Professor. You'll never find him, and even if you did, you wouldn't know what to do with him. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a class to teach. Nothing quite as fulfilling as fostering young minds.
Or young baddies. You know, in gym class.
Yes, quite, Miss.
The mind and the body's equally important. I think you can't really have one in good health without the other following along. So I always make a point to say minds and bodies, because if you focus one over the other, you're either going to be hot or dumb. And I think my students want to be both.
Yes, quite, Miss Sickness. Oh, I almost forgot my cigarette holder. You ladies don't mind seeing yourselves out, do you? I'm rather late.
So, of course, this is where Fanny looks at she sees the cigarette holder in your mouth and realizes that that is the symbol that she's been chasing the whole time. And then when the door closes, she sees that it says Dr. P.R. Ofessor. And it's sort of this usual suspects moment, which of course had just come out, you know. But so it's sort of this usual suspects moment where she realizes that you are the professor, but she opens the door to look for you and you're gone. It's too late. She doesn't find you anywhere.
That was nice to hear that, see that scene. You know, it was,
how about that?
I still think it would have sounded been better with bongos, the bongo music.
I agree. I was listening to it now, thinking actually maybe Tigress isn't so great.
Oh wow! Or maybe even instead of the ticking clock, you could have just done sort of hitting the bongo and
yeah, like that. Yeah, like that. Yeah.
You sell it in your pot shop. It's a clock, but instead of the second hand, it's just a bongo hit every time, right?
Yeah, every time. Yeah, keep rhythm with bongos. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how does it feel, Guillaume, hearing that? I mean, because you don't stretch that often. You know, no offense, but that's not, you don't go deep into character that much very often. So
no, I think this is the only role I've ever taken where I did not just speak with my voice as is the day I showed up on set.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Which has all been a little bit raspy from the night before.
No, for sure. It's only gotten worse over the years. Yeah.
So do you feel, when you hear that, do you hear yourself in it, or is it like it was someone else?
It does sound like it's someone else. I mean, I officially did enough acid in the 90s to achieve ego death.
Yes.
So it is sort of like hearing much like we were saying earlier, the voice of a ghost or a spirit, or like peering into a mirror realm where you're living a different life.
Right.
And,
a mirror realm.
You know, like when you look in a mirror and sometimes you wonder if maybe the guy looking in the mirror is just a version of you from a different timeline who is looking into a mirror at the same time. And then when he's done, he goes off and he does something completely different than what you're doing, because in his world, he's living an entirely different life than the life that you have been living your entire life.
Oh my god.
I don't know. Guillaume, you say you don't like sci-fi and fantasy, but I don't know. I think you got a hell of a script on your hands.
I was going to say, I'm in an episode of Black Mirror that they decided to never air, and that kind of reminded me of that.
Wow. Yeah, do you want to talk about that episode, by the way, since it was never released?
Yeah, it's kind of a different timeline scenario, but the situation was, you remember how in the pilot of that episode they asked that politician to fuck a pig,
Yeah.
They thought to themselves.
I did audition for the pig, by the way, because that's when I was spending a lot of time with those pigs.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I had no idea that you were around even you were considered for that.
Plus, you're really great at simulating sex on screen, so it's you got two things going for you there.
So it was a self-tape, but it didn't work. But so I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, it was sort of like that, but they thought, well, what if we did it but for women? And so it's sort of an episode where they come up to me and they say, all right, you are the Queen of England, which I was playing like a young queen. It was like, imagine, they're like, you have to be fucked by this horse in a little bit of a Catherine the Great situation. And you can say yes, or you can say no. But if you say no, then the whole country, the whole planet explodes, both of the things.
So it really was the exact same plot as the pilot.
But it was a little more intense though. And then but in this one, my character says, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And then we see this whole timeline play out where the whole world is destroyed and it's my fault. So
the path not taken.
Yeah, they decided not to air it because in the end, and then I say, okay, I actually want to have sex with the horse. I change my mind, I do it back. And then I end up having sex with the horse, but it's a different horse, so it's too late. And so the BBC decided that they could never actually air it because it looked too profane.
Really?
Yeah.
More profane than the guy fucking the pig.
I was like, you put that on the air?
That's a double standard.
You have Daniel Radcliffe doing it in Equus.
Yeah, I think what I think that is that's unfair to pigs. Honestly, I feel like the people want to see the pig being victimized, but when it's a beautiful horse, people are like, oh no, don't hurt the horses. Everyone eats ham, everyone eats bacon.
I don't think the horse is a victim.
But then people get mad at IKEA. You know what I mean? For putting horses in their meatballs.
The horse had an erection. The horse liked it.
Well, yeah, of course. Everyone liked it. I'm sure the pig liked it, but
and it was really good. I was really, really in that scene. Like, it felt really real.
Yeah, I've seen some of the stills. Again, you can find
those.
Yeah, they did leak those. That was in the Fappening Part 3.
Oh, I didn't know this. All right.
Yeah.
I gotta say, being unplugged from pop culture for the last 30 years, I have never heard a more alienating conversation.
That's fair. You probably can't even tell what we're talking
about. I'm pulling in the
sorry.
bits and pieces. This culture's way more into bestiality now, and internet.
Well, it's not. It was a television program.
Right.
So it wasn't. But that being said, you never would have seen Andy Griffith fuck a pig back in the day.
No.
Right. You never would have seen rawhide. Raw dogging a pig. No. That's not what rawhide meant in the show.
The Dukes of Hazzard never made out, even though I think we all knew they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to, even though they're brothers.
Yeah.
But then that's another thing, by the way, if you plug it in the internet that you're going to find out is real big these days is incest. All right. Okay. I'm sorry, Guillaume. I'm here to have made you a little bit uncomfortable with what technology.
Oh, no. The tea kicked in midway through the Black Mirror part.
Did it feel too real?
It felt very real. Real. I was sitting there and I was like, God, would I fuck a horse to save the world? I think I would.
I'm so flattered that you could feel that because that imagine what you just felt. That's what I thought that audiences would feel when they saw it. And I went full beeve. I was spread eagle in it and they won't show it.
I've said this a lot my entire career, which is I think the entire world needs to ingest a large amount of hallucinogenic mushrooms on a daily basis.
Oh, yes.
And I think it would make art better, our enjoyment of art
a large amount.
Make us more open-minded. What?
Do you think it should be a large amount every day, not a microdose?
Well, you start small, and then by the time you're my age, you're up to about a pound. Yeah, I eat them like bags of chips.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a lot of chips.
yeah. Especially when you consider what a pound of chips actually looks like. That's
It's actually a lot.
That's a lot. Now that I'm saying it out loud, I'm realizing that I might have a problem.
I think you're fine. You're fine. You got your head on straight.
So
you accomplished all this in your life. You gave people so much joy with your character of the professor. And I think that people are always going to, I know that you don't hear it all the time like we do, when we're at the cons or whatever, but I think that they say that your performance meant a lot to them and that it really, helped them. A lot of people say that it helped me. I hear young teens come up to me and they say, I didn't realize, that I was British until I saw the professor, and that helped me come to terms with how British I was.
In some ways, that's how I felt. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad I helped.
Yeah.
I'm glad I helped. If I can leave this world having painted a couple truly perfect pictures of cactuses and having helped a kid somewhere in bumfuck Kansas realize that he was secretly British,
Yes.
I feel like I left a pretty good mark on the world.
Well, I think that's as good a place to wrap up this episode.
To push my ass into the time tube, let me fall.
Before we get out of here, we're going to do a quick question of the week. We have a question of the week sent in this week on Twitter, which let me get the username here. It is from Mike's Twisted Limoncello. I don't get that reference exactly. And so this is the question says, when did you know that you had made it after the show went on the air? When did you know the show was a hit? What was the first moment that you realized the show was a hit? They sort of stumbled across it in the tweet too, but I guess that's why Twitter gives you 280 characters. So when did you guys have a moment where you were out maybe after the show came out that you realized that that was a bigger deal than you thought it was?
I think it's probably for me when I just sort of after a party, back when we were having some more, the premieres and not premieres, but the publicity stuff in LA, and I got to smoke weed with Snoop Dogg and Willie Nelson, and that I think at that point I was like, I guess this is what being famous is like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a famous picture. You I guess you don't know that because you haven't seen, but that's a historical picture of the three of you guys. It's like the sort of the Mount Rushmore. They call it Mount Cushmore.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
Man.
They do.
I gotta plug back in,
Yeah.
So fun.
For me, it was probably I was out one night at a McDonald's and Danny DeVito walk up to me, and this was Danny DeVito in his height. Well, no pun intended, of course. He's a very short man. But he walked up to me and he said, "Oh my God, you're Charles, aren't you?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "I love the shit that you do on that show. Will you fall down for me?" He asked me to fall down for him in the McDonald's. And I said no, because I was just trying to get a snack. But, he's my hero, so I'm trying to be nice about it. And the next thing I know, he just pushes me. And unbeknownst to me, Rhea Perlman is behind me on her hands and knees. And so I just he just wanted to see me fall over because I fell over so much on the show that he thought it really gave both of them a big laugh to see me do it.
They are pranksters.
They are
really
just like Sasha,
I'm still not convinced that divorces are real. I think it might be a long-standing prank.
Oh, it's a prank.
They were married?
That's right, Danny and Rhea.
Was I at that wedding too?
Yeah.
You may have been. You may have been.
I think you were, yeah. I would say for me, it was when Bill Clinton wanted to date me.
That's right. He was acting president at the time.
That is what I said. Oh my God, I think I made it.
Yeah.
I said the president knows who I am.
How did he pursue you? He sent you something.
He sent pizzas to my house.
Yeah.
That's the language of love right there.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. I got it's a laugh now, when you think about it. But he sent me Pizza Hut pizzas, and the first time it was I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional.
I know you're getting emotional, yeah.
Because actually, looking back, I'm like, oh my God, what if I dated Bill Clinton? I could have ran for president, and that's just another timeline.
Sure,
I would have voted. That's looking in the mirror.
That's one of those mirror universes.
He sent me the Bigfoot pizza.
Oh, wow, from Little Caesars.
No, Pizza Hut briefly did it as well.
Oh, they did the Pizza Hut. Okay.
Yeah, so he sent me one of those, and I thought, hey, what am I to do with all this? And then it came with a telegram that said, if you need someone to eat this with, call.
And then
you just ate it all by yourself.
Well, yes, but then I called him after to say thank you. But it was kind of strange to have to call the White House. And he said, "Oh, I see you on that little show." That's what he said. It's like, "I see you on that little show with the wizards." And I don't know if he ever listened to it with a volume. I think he watched it muted, because he just kept talking about how I looked and all that. And it was a lovely 6 months.
That you got pizzas from Bill Clinton.
Yes, I have pizzas and phone calls with the sitting president. I mean, come on.
Yeah, he had the red phone for nuclear, but then right next to that he had the white phone that was just for you to call.
It was lovely,
Yeah,
that's how I knew. I said, "No, I've leveled up."
Mm-hmm. Have you spoken to him since?
No, I haven't. Not since I've moved abroad. I know that his wife did some pretty cool things. But I really haven't kept in touch. I'm just not very, I'm not very good at keeping in touch with my exes. I'm thinking I like to let the past be in the past. And I spent several months and years in a desert, and I didn't have phones.
Oh yeah, of course, when you were in Children of the Sun Loom.
Mm-hmm, yes.
Well, I guess there's your answer, Mike's hard limoncello. Thanks for listening to the show. We're sending you a prize pack with a Mirror Universe T-shirt that we're gonna. Which, by the way, Guillaume, you don't mind if we start selling those Mirror Universe T-shirts? Do you? No, please, okay.
Sell away. You're welcome to sell my paintings on your website if you want.
Oh yeah.
My books of poetry. Always looking to spread the word.
I'll talk to the grandmas and I'll see if we can add those to our shop.
Yeah,
that's nice.
All right, you guys, this has been episode 2, Professor Party of Evil. Come back next week. I'm not sure who our guest is going to be quite yet. I'm still waiting for answers to my letters, but we will be discussing episode 3, Mermaid in America. So be on the lookout for that. And until then, keep Fanny and keep Falls. Do we have an ending?
I don't believe we do, but keep Fanny
on rolling.
Is good.
I love that. Just
gaze into the mirror.
Gaze into the mirror. Until next week, gaze into the mirror.
Gaze into the mirror.
Hey guys, Andy Fleming here. Thank you so much for listening to Fanny Falls Demon Hunter. If you'd like to support the show, you can do that at our Patreon, patreon.com/dumbfun, which is the Patreon for the Dumb Fun Podcast Network, which includes Fanny Falls Demon Hunter, 30 characters, and the new Musical the Movie the Podcast, where me and Steph Smith talk about musical movies and present a new song for them at the end. Sounds like fun, right? It is. You can also rate, review, subscribe on iTunes, tell a friend, all that kind of thing. Just a quick shout out to our cast for today's episode. Fanny Falls is played by Thora Ann Birch, who's played by Mandy McKelvey. Miss Thickness is played by Brett Bilkerson, who's played by Sarah Shockey. Nathan is played by Solomon Buckton, who's played by Morris Timms. Charles is played by Topher Jason, who's played by little old me, Andy Fleming. Ophelia is played by Letty Lamora, who's played by Stephanie Weber. And the Professor, played by Guillame Novascotia, played by Hobert Thompson, our guest for this episode. Thank you guys so much for listening and supporting, and until next time, gaze into the mirror.
Fun, dumb,